I am just untangling my headphones because I'm getting ready to go to work. It's one of my favorite jobs. And I just got told by a gal that I did the 3 stone circles. It was mostly like she had them there, but they were needing to be redone and have weed netting laid down and stuff. And I was worried because I looked at them and like I just went intuitively with, okay, I've laid the weed netting down, I put the rocks around. There's only a few big ones that aren't quite fitting back in, but they're in decent places and they can be moved. And I took a look from several different angles. This is something I learned in past landscaping and just in being an artist. You know how you always like, well, I learned that it is beneficial to your own art and your own work if you look at things from many angles, right? So I looked at how it would look from the house. There was a window there, and I went and stood back towards where the barn was, which is more the angle they're going to look at it the most often. And then I looked at it head on. Now, the funny thing is, like, if you stand head on and you're neither at the window nor at, like, say, the barn, it looks a little wonky. You know what I mean? Like, if you're standing, like, right up on it, it's like, you know, a circle and then kind of an oval and then another circle. Part of this is because of where the tree roots are and stuff like that. But when you look at it from the barn or you look at it from the window, it looks really nice, you know? And the gal wasn't there when I finished up because I was going to ask her, like, would you like me to adjust this in any way? Like, would you like me to make it, like, look better when you're up on it? Like, because I could do that. It wouldn't look as great from a distance, but it would look really great when you go up to it. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to trust myself. And I'm happy because she sent me a message this morning because I was talking about doing the topsoil and things like that. And she said, actually, you know what, it's going to be a while before I'm going to be able to get it. And so, like, I think we're good right at the moment. And it looks really, really great. Thank you. And I was like, oh, okay, see, there we go. Self trust, right? And I've been looking into more and more stuff about the current Saturn alignment in particular. One, because Saturn rules Capricorn, which is my sun sign, and two, because we have a lot of interesting aspects of all the other planets going on to Saturn right now. It's currently in a conjunction with Mars and Venus in Aquarius, so we have a lot of that energy. And it's funny because Aquarius is on the axis of Aquarius Leo, and so it's like the group and the individual, group and the individual in the group, right? And it's a lot of like, well, let's put it this way: America was born in the sign of Aquarius. So you tell me, right? There's a lot of light and a lot of shadow. There's a lot of different things that go on in that, but I keep getting a continual message from Aquarius, that Saturn in Aquarius, like the energy is alone together. And like I've had a lot of people, especially lately, like either express that they feel alone or that, like, you know, in my position with the court stuff, which is very much like Saturn in Aquarius sort of thing, that they say you are alone in this. And I'm like, I know, like there's like 20 pirates and like there's a lot of stuff writing on this, like, will freedom of speech and freedom of religion hold out, and will the system work to be able to protect my son and if possible provide some protections to his dad. I don't know, you know. A lot of it resides in the stories that people tell and the judge's ability to see through to what's authentic, to what's not, to what's healthy, to what's not, and to have a heart to care about that kind of stuff. And then just, you know, the path moving forward from that. But there's definitely, like, when I've had people that are like, you know, you're alone or I'm alone or this and that, the message comes through to me very clearly. Yes, and we're alone together. Like, we are always our individual self. If you look into, there's a psychology phenomena, or, well, it's kind of psychology meets philosophy, called theory of mind, which says that there is no empirical way to prove that all of the stuff that you're seeing in front of you is not a figment of your own imagination. Like, it, we can all collectively say, nah, we don't believe that, but there's no empirical way not to prove it. It's part of existentialism, right? But when you look at things like that, you are going in an existential way. Like, you are always alone, and you are also never alone. You know what I mean? You've got that we're humans, we're social, we have to be around other either at least other beings, on a regular basis. It could be your pet dog, pet cat, it could be horses, it could be something, but we're social creatures. Even if you're out being social with trees, I know some people that are like that do that. They're very much connected to the earth and plants, and they see them as living, breathing beings, which they are, right? And like that's enough for them. So, but it has to be some sort of connection, and so that Aquarius Leo end there very much comes into that whole factor. And it reminds me of something that my DM was like, part of the whole reason that we got to where we are, to where he's stuck where he is because he was afraid to be alone. And I was for a while too, but not to that degree, because I was left alone a lot as a kid when it wasn't other unfortunate situations, and I got to learn to prefer to be alone. It was safer, but not in a, I don't know. I'm too much. I'm an extroverted introvert, so I'm too much extrovert to become like a hermit, or what do people call it? An agoraphobic, right? Like, no, I like to be out in nature. I like to talk to people. I like people in general. I don't even necessarily like. I have moments that I get upset with people that their behaviors are not healthy, or they're hurting myself or my kids or people I care about. But I don't hate, you know what I mean? I don't hate people in general. Like, I have great empathy. That's actually what had me stuck for a long time with a lot of people doing piratey things, because I felt for their story, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of this message that Saturn's wanting to bring through right now, is like, you've got to face that concern, that fear, any sort of stuff about being alone, right? Because for one thing, actually, alone, you get to make all the decisions. You don't have 2 or 6 or 12 or 20 different opinions you have to get first, or suggestions you have to get. You can pivot, you can change your mind, you can go back, you can go forward. There's a lot of beautifulness in individuality, in being alone. And then there's a lot of different stories all through. Like, I mean, look at Buddha, look at Gideon, what's his name, Bronwyn. Like, there's lots of different deities and spiritual figures throughout all different kinds of religions that they went and spent time alone, and they learned many, many things. Like, think about the Hanged Man card and stuff like that. Like, you don't see any other figures in there with him. But yeah, that seems like the big message is, like, right now, the shadow and the light to explore is aloneness and being alone together. And I'm trying to remember, because on the title I had put something else on there too. Oh, thought train. Wouldn't it be nice if you stuck with me on that? That's all right. Spirit will bring it back. My guides will bring it back. So think about that, though. Think about the ways that you are alone that you are grateful for. Think about the ways that you are alone that worry you. Like, I'm not worried about romantic relationships. I haven't been for a while. Like, that was a thing that went back and forth in my psyche, because of the way that, like, most of the women that I've grown up around or had throughout my life, like, they were so scared to be alone that they would rather, like, pick a guy to use him, to marry him. Like, it was hardly about love. Like, love was in there in some ways, but it was like, marry him, trap him, keep him in there, make him do what you want, hit him harder if he doesn't, like that kind of stuff. And like, I can't be alone because how will I pay the bills? And so I had, those things in my shadows, and I was like, how do I face these? I do not want to go those paths. The paths that those people went hurt them more, hurt their kids more, hurt me more, hurt everyone more. Like, no, and men equally on the other side is like, I have to have a lot of money so that I can keep a woman, or I have to get her pregnant so that I can keep her through a baby, or I have to, like, it's so low vibe, and it's about need and lack and desperation. I don't want to live that life anymore, and when I made the changes in my life, it was one of those, like, you know what? Yeah, like, if you're willing to be a victim and to push that kind of stuff, you'll have lots of people who will gladly help you. If you're all about winning or not being vulnerable or getting the last word or anything like that, lots of people will help you. But if you're on the state similar to mine or a channel similar to mine, it's like, I don't care about winning. I care about what's best for the children. I'm not afraid to be alone. In fact, I'm okay in either situation. Like, I'm good working on me. I'm good devoting my time to my kids and to my overall life before I even have any concern about that, you know? And I also look around and it's like I can think about so many times, so many talks, especially early on with my DM, when he told me like the only reason he even got in the situation he was in is because he was afraid he couldn't do it alone. And I understand that, but like, you can see the contrast, right? Like, if you follow that fear and you jump in and you don't vet people and you don't think about what your own needs are and you don't do your own healing first, you actually make things worse. And then you put a bigger set of mountains and molehills on top of the stuff that you already needed to heal that will just continue to cycle through any relationship you're in until you have time alone. And there are some things too that, you know, I want to say it's kind of like, we are so social that we do get bound up in the group of like, who do I have by my side? Who do I have with me? Who do I have to help me? Or like, you know, who will go play this game with me, or who will go work this job with me, or who will bake this bread with me, that we often don't look at how we can help heal the collective and ourselves by saying, you know what, like, not in a I don't need nobody, but in a like, I am complete all by myself. I have everything that I need right here and right here, you know, like, I have everything that I need for love, for income, for intelligence, for emotional connection right here. And so then when you approach other people and you recognize that you have everything that you need and they have everything that they need, because for them too, it's another, they have everything they need here and here at minimum. And if you recognize that, you don't go into a dynamic of being entangled with people that you feel like you need them and that they need you, and then you end up in a codependent entanglement with them. You know what I mean? And that changes the entire dynamic of the collective. Like, that's a lot of how we got into, like, collectively where we are. And I think definitely, like, Aquarius is definitely the collective side. And so Aquarius in Saturn, it definitely changes things to where, like, you want to be able to see yourself. You want to be able to see how you are capable on your own so that you can change that neediness in your own vibration. And as you do that, you will connect with other people that are also in not such a needy, desperate space. And then you can more easily hold vibrations of gratitude and joy and success and comfort and whatever thing that you want. You know, you can face court situations, you can face challenging family situations, you can face challenging situations with your twin flame. You know, you can rise to it, and you won't even need to be in like what's the way to put it, like when you're in, you know, when you're in desperation and you're like panicked about so many different things and stuff, like, you won't need to be in that state. You'll feel inner peace even when it feels like the whole world is shaking, you know. I think that's part of what Saturn is coming to show us, especially in Aquarius, and especially connected to Mars and Venus, because that's like both Mars and Venus kind of make up more of our emotional states, whereas Saturn is much more like the boundaries, the rules, the limitation, the fairness and time and things like that. It's also known as Chronos, which is like father time, right? And there's a lot of masculine aspects in it. There's going to be a lot of like hard work, but remember, like, I heard another astrologer talk about it, and he was saying, like, well, if you like hard work, you'll be fine. And I thought, good, I like hard work. You know what I mean? Like that. Why do you think I like working with horses? And it's actually better for my body than any other, like jobs where you're just standing there and doing repetitive motions like that. It's way better. That's why I can do it, and I like it. And I don't mind I've never minded starting from the bottom. Like, even this court stuff, like, even if their stories are believed over mine, like, it's just a matter of time. I just have to keep going for it. You know what I mean? I just have to keep talking to them, keep documenting things, keep moving forward, keep preparing a space for Joey. You know what I mean? Like, energetically, like having it ready, and physically having it ready. Like, that, and if it takes longer, then I'll just have a better situation built up there, so that when he is with us, like, he'll have everything that he wants and needs, you know. And same with my Eamon. And that takes me to a whole different emotional place, which is, you know, it's part of the Saturn and Aquarius stuff. Like, it's a balance, like a balance of logic and emotion, a balance of intuition and intelligence, a balance of all things, really. So, I don't know. Take what messages from these that you feel like resonate for your journey. Don't worry about the rest. They're probably for somebody else. And thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and following along with this interesting journey that I call my life. I'll see you in the next video.